2023 Year 2 IP Common Test 1. In the first sum is a test on expansion and distributive law. To do the expansion, we use the for method. Noting the first term in each bracket, we have the first term times the first term to give us 4a squared. To get the middle term, we multiply the inner and the outer terms. The inner term gives us 10a and the outer term minus 6a. 10a minus 6a is plus 4a. And finally, the last term, plus 5 times minus 3 is minus 15. And then in the second part, the distributive law, minus 3a times 1 is minus 3a. Minus times minus is plus. 3a times a is 3a squared. Then we collect the like terms. 4a squared plus 3a squared to give 7a squared. And 4a minus 3a is plus a. And finally, we have a negative 15. The second part is just simple expansion again. First term, c times 2c is 2c squared. And again, we have the inner term, minus 6cd, outer term, plus 7cd. 7cd minus 6cd is plus cd. And finally, minus times plus is minus. 3 times 7, 21. D times d, d squared. Now we move on to the second sum. In the second sum is a simple sum on factorization of common factors. Looking at the numbers, the common factor is 3. Looking at the a terms, the common factor is a. And then the b terms is a b. Now we have taken out a, b, so one more b is left, because b times b is b squared. Plus, we have taken out the factor 3 from 12, so we have left with 4. We've taken out 1a, so 1a is left. b is also taken out. Now let us take a look at factorization using the for method. In the for method, we just make use of the first and the last term to determine our terms in the brackets. We do not put in any sign yet. 6c squared is, well, we could try 3c and 2c. Now, what we left now is to look at the factors of 20, which is 4 times 5. Now, if we put a 4 here and a 5 here, then we need to check the middle term. In the middle term, we have an 8c and a 15c. Now, 8c and 15c will not give us a 19c. So therefore this is wrong. Now even if we put the other way around, where we have 5 and 4, we have a common factor of 2 here, but 19 doesn't have a factor of 2. So that means that what we factorize in the first part is wrong. So now we have to try another possibility, 6C and C. Okay, so once again we are looking at 5 and 4. Now we cannot put a 4 here because of the common factor, so put a 5 and a 4 here. Okay, now we test for the middle term. We have 5C and 24C. So 5C and 24C. We have a plus 19, so it is a plus 24 and minus 9. That gives us plus 19C. Therefore, this is positive and the inner term is negative. This completes the factorization. Now, the word hence means that we must use the previous results, which is this result, and we have to use this result to factorize this. On examination, we find that C has been replaced with D plus 1. Therefore, this is the same expression as before. Therefore, we have the same factors in the answer, where you have 6C minus 5. In this case, we have 6 bracket minus 5. And on this side, plus 4. So the answer looks similar because the sum, original sum, has been replaced by D plus 1. Right? So D plus 1 has replaced C in the answer. We need to simplify what is in the square brackets. So we have 6D plus 6 minus 5. And on this side, we have D plus 5. And finishing off, we have 6D plus 1 and D plus 5. We now move on to the next sum. Here we have an inequality. An inequality works the same way as an equation. So for this equation with a single fraction on each side, we need to cross multiply. Cross multiply means we multiply diagonally. So here 5 times 3 is 15. And 2 times 4 is 8, which we put on the other side of the inequality. Now expanding it, we have 15 times 9 is 135, and minus 30x is less than 8. Okay. Getting rid of the 135, we subtract 135. Similarly, we subtract 135 here. That gives us 127. And dividing both sides by negative will means that we have to reverse the inequality sign. This is the only thing that is different about an inequality, that when we divide by a negative number, we need to reverse the sign. So x is 127. The minus sign is cancelled out, and this gives us 4 and 7 over 30. We must leave our answer in a mixed number. Now we want to graph this on a number line. The number line is just simply an x-axis, and therefore there are only whole numbers that we can represent here. We must make sure that the spacings are equal. And we put 3 here, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 4 and 7 over 3 is somewhere here. And since it's greater or equal to, we have a solid dot. Then we draw a line in this direction, following the greater sign symbol. The arrow points to the right. Now, since it's a fraction, we need to put the number on top of the dot. Now we look at the last part, where we have to find the least possible rational value. Rational means fractional. So the least possible rational is just simply 4 and 7 over 30. We now move to the next sum. This is a problem sum on inequalities. We have a multiple choice quiz. 2 points awarded for correct answer, 1 point for wrong answer, or if a question is unanswered. But here you see that Ignatius has attempted all the questions, so we don't need to be worried about this part. And his total score was greater than 50, so it's greater than 50. And x being the number of wrong answers. So therefore, the number of right answers must be 40 minus x. So since we get 2 marks for right answers, we have 2 times 40 minus x. Then we lose marks for wrong answers. For each wrong answer is 1 mark. So for x wrong answers is minus x marks. Now we simplify this. So here it gives us minus 3x is greater than minus 30. So once again, we are dividing by a negative number, so we need to reverse the sign. So that gives us 10. So we have to find the maximum number of questions that he answered wrongly. Now the number of questions is a whole number, so the maximum we can go, which is less than 10, must be must be 9. We now move to the next question. This question is on simultaneous equations. Simultaneous equations is a pair of equations where the x and y terms, where the x and y variable have the same value. So to solve it, we need to remove one unknown. We need to decide on which one to remove. But before that, we need to simplify the expression, especially the first one. We first multiply throughout to convert it to a linear form. We multiply by 4, or multiply it by 8. Okay, we can multiply equation 1 by 8. So once we have done that, on this side, when we multiply by 8, on this side we multiply by 8, that will give us, here we cancel, level 2, so we have a 2 bracket 2x minus y equals, cancel, and we have 20. So now we have 4x minus 2y equals 20. And we call this the third equation. Now, we see that equation 2 has a plus 2y, and here we have a minus 2y. So if we add equation 2 to equation 3, 10x plus 4x is 14x, and 2y minus 2y is 0, so there is no more y. And 1 plus 20 is 21. So that gives us x equals 3 over 2, or 1.5. We must put our answer as a mixed number. So now we substitute x equals to 1.5 into, well, it's easier to substitute into equation 2. We must show the substitution. 10, well, here we can write it as 3 over 2, which is 1.5, plus 2y equals to 1. And simplifying this, we will have y equals to minus 7. In question 6, we have a graph question. There is an unknown value of y, which is represented by a letter p. We need to show the substitution into the formula to find the value of p. So the equation is 2x plus 3y, and y here is p, equals to 26. So x is 4. So working out, we have p is 6. This is how we present the sum. Similarly, to find q, and using this equation where x is 1 and y is q, substituting and finding the value, we have q equals to -5. Now we can plot the graph. Before we plot a graph, we need to find out the lowest and highest value of x and y. The lowest value of x is 1, and the highest value is 10. there are no negative values. As for the y value, the highest is 8 and the smallest is 1. So, no, the smallest is negative 5. So we need to draw our graph from negative 5 to 8 on the y-axis. So we plot from negative 5 to 8 on the y-axis. There are no negative x value. And we plot the points using an x. A good graph must be properly labeled. The values on the y-axis are on the left. And the values on the x-axis are below the axis. We must plot with an x, and we must mark the axis. And in this case here is 2 cm for 2 units. 2 cm is one big square. So two cm representing 2 units for both the x and the y axis. Sometimes some students will forget to put the zero origin. And we must also label the y and the x-axis with the arrowheads. So when a graph is properly labeled, then you will get full marks. The answer, the x value is 7 and the y value is 4. Now we move on to the last question. In the last question, we have two straight lines. Isaac claimed that there's only one solution, but John claims that there are no solutions. Before we can determine who is right, we need first to find out what the gradient is. In the first equation, the gradient is negative 5. In the second equation, y equals to negative 5 x plus 3. Gradient is also negative 5. And they have different y-intercepts, which means that here we have two lines which cuts at two different points, 7 and 3. But because they have the same gradient, they will be parallel. So we say that since both lines have the same gradient, but different y-intercepts, therefore they are parallel. They do not intercept. They do not intersect each other. hence there are no solutions. So if you have the main points here, which means parallel, do not intersect, no solutions, right? Same gradient, and you show that they have the same gradient. So all these are the points that are important for you to get a full mark. Thank you very much.